Welcome back to One Bills Live. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker coming to you live from the NFL Combine, and pleased to be joined now by the co-host of These Guys podcast, comedian and impressionist Joey Mulinaro, who is an Indy native but is a Steelers fan. I need you to explain the genesis of that.
Well, one, I like to win. Two, well, unless we're playing the Bills as of late. We'll get to that, right? Yeah. But two, really, my dad grew up in Indianapolis. Simple enough. Colts didn't get here until '84.
Okay.
Who else are you rocking with? The Steelers?
Okay.
Of course, the team of the 70s. There you go. So he passed it down to me.
Gotcha.
Now you're with 33rd Team podcast. How's that going? It's got an 8-part series coming up. Give us a little insight into the podcast.
That's right. Yeah, for those about to mock, and it's just a digital YouTube series, all right? It's a play on a sketch that I did a couple years ago. As we all know, this business loves mock drafts. We love to talk about it all year round. And so with 33rd Team, I'm doing 8-part series, one guest a week, all things NFL draft, and we look at different mocks, and we have some fun.
So you kind of slip – I mean, if you're doing a mock draft, you're going to have to do – I'm imagining you're going to slip into your – Mel Kiper mode and just go all out. And the thing that I have to ask though, are you going all the way right to the widow's peak? Because that thing is fierce. Like, it shouldn't just be the voice. I think you got to go all in for a segment of the 8-part mock. And
Dracula is envious of that widow's peak.
Oh, he is. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the makeup department that like a Caliendo or somebody
not
like
in the
that
budget.
does. Not in the budget, right? You know, my wife's taking care of our 6-month-old son, so it's tough for her to balance that and then also get the peak down for me. But maybe, you know, they got those like Halloween stores that come about in like August now. Maybe I'll go get one of those Dracula ones so I can just keep it with me all year long.
What is the key to that? Because yes, you want to match up the voice, but at the same time, he's like on speed when somebody's asking him about a draft prospect. So you got to you got to match the voice with the energy. Like you got to be like wired.
Right. Yeah. So there's a couple things. So one, with Kuiper, it's always you're looking into the camera and you have the delay that for whatever reason seems like it's about 15 seconds long, and so he's sitting there and he's got the look right. I'll put my hat up. And he's got the right. He's listening and he's got the serious face where he's taking in the question, right, and he's waiting to answer, and we're all like, "You there, Mel? What's going on?" And then he fires into it real
He goes
hard.
from like 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. His 10-second split is great. You know what I mean? Like we're doing combine stuff, right?
Right. Let me ask you, Mel Kiper. So we've got these. There's a lot of people that think there's 4 first-round quarterbacks. I know you have differing opinions from that. I want to know what Mel Kiper thinks of these 4 quarterbacks that may all 4 go in the top 10. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think we're going to look at a guy like Bryce Young. He plays in the SEC for 3 years. Heisman Trophy winner Nick Saban. We know what Nick Saban brings. We know the kind of program that he runs down there. I think when you're looking for a quarterback that you can put a face to your franchise kind of guy, you're looking at somebody like Bryce Young. Now, there are a few red flags, a few concerns. You look at his size, his stature. He's not going to be able to hold up in the NFL for very long, but when he does, I think it's going to be quite worth it.
Yeah, that's he hangs on those words at the end, doesn't he? Like, guy.
A little bit of concern there. Yeah, absolutely.
He does.
So now then we go to, and another thing that's happening here, Bryce Young is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. His head coach at Alabama, Nick Saban. It's always good for these scouts and guys to go in and see if they can get. And Nick Saban has a reputation for an unvarnished opinion about his guy. So, Coach Saban, what is your unvarnished opinion about your guy, Bryce Young?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm already on the spring ball, and Bryce ain't in my program anymore. So if you want to talk about my team, you want to talk about the roster that I'm putting together right now, everybody thinks that we're just going to crap out another quarterback. I got a competition going on that I got to manage, and you're sitting here asking me about Bryce Young, all right?
Yeah, that's good.
That is perfect. That's on brand.
He's from West Virginia, but he's like adopted an Alabama accent or something.
He's like a one-of-one dialect. He really is. You're right, because he mixes the South with the West Virginia mountain kind of. It's a very interesting dialect from him.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like Coach Kelly down at LSU, who all of a sudden became Southern after he got hired.
Southern.
For an impressionist like you see a guy like Coach Kelly go down to LSU, and all of a sudden he's Southern. Like, if you did a Coach Kelly, you'd have to change on the fly there. Like, what the hell happened?
Right. So that's I've done a few sketches that I've put out, and for anybody watching and listening, you can my YouTube channel or just at Joey Mulinaro on socials where you can go find them. But I didn't know what to do with Coach Kelly, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we got to get a Saban Kelly. We got to get a Saban Kelly," and so I just decided to go full in. This guy is full Southern cartoon character, right? Like I wasn't going
Right,
to try to absolutely imitate him, but now when I do, a Saban Kelly, I have Saban, but then I go full on. I just call him Southern Brian Kelly, and he's sitting there and he's saying, "Oh well, now we're going to have ourselves some iced tea and watch some football, and it's going to be a grand time." And then you're right. So I'm like, if I didn't know what to do with it, then it's like I'm just going to full on go into the character everybody's making fun of, and he's going to be Southern Brian Kelly.
I think that's a good way to sell it.
Yeah.
All right, so we know Cris Collinsworth is a major investor in Pro Football Focus, and he's kind of running that outfit or financially backing that. He's also still doing Sunday Night Football, but he's no longer with Al Michaels. He's now with Mike Tirico on Sunday Night Football, and we know he is passionately in love with Patrick Mahomes. How in love are you, Cris Collinsworth, with Patrick Mahomes?
Boy, it doesn't get much better than Patrick Mahomes, does it? I mean, you look at the guy, every throw he makes, everything he does in the pocket, whether it's 1 foot, 2 feet, sometimes I think he has 3 feet out there. The way he's playing ball, he's just so impressive. And everybody wants to cry about Tom Brady leaving the National Football League. I say, we got our next GOAT coming through. That's Patrick Mahomes.
I can't tell you how much Bills fans in Buffalo
Oh, I can imagine.
loathe
Chris
Cris Collinsworth and his fawning appreciation of Mahomes. No, I mean, everybody totally respects Mahomes.
Yeah.
But, oh, my God, Cris Collinsworth isn't gushing. He's like practically vomiting all over the booth.
It's hard to find announcers who are down the middle on Pat Mahomes, man.
Right.
Bills fans are very sensitive to it.
Sure.
So, anytime that they say something about Pat Mahomes, it's expected they got to say something nice about Josh Allen too,
sure.
or
well,
whoever else it is.
Yeah, I've seen a few cut-ups, and it would be tough. It would be frustrating. Like, I've seen the cut-ups where Mahomes will, kind of scurry out of the pocket a little bit, throw an incomplete pass, and Collinsworth will be like, see, there's just not many guys who can do that. And then, like, Josh Allen throws like a 72-yard bomb on the money.
Actually, there's another guy that does exactly that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he does that, and then it's just like, you see, he kind of overthrew him there. He would have gave this guy a better shot. And you're like, you just raved about Mahomes. Yeah, but Chris, right. I mean, to me, I want to get out there. He's been great to me. He's super complimentary and knows that I'm just doing it out of fun. But I can see where the Bills fans would be frustrated.
Yeah. We know that the hometown Colts here, even though you're a Steelers fan, are in a mad search for a franchise quarterback because it's been revolving door since Andrew Luck retired. Andrew Luck, what is Andrew Luck doing here these days? I mean, why don't you tell us, Andrew? What have you been up to since you stepped away from football?
Just enjoying being a dad. First and foremost, having a lot of fun doing that. Still love the game. Would love to get involved in some sort of coaching or I think maybe like a history teacher, going back to school for that, maybe a high school football coach, just for the love of the game instead of going out getting beat up by 350-pound guys, even though the money is nice. Just for the love of the game, thinking I'm going to be a high school coach.
I can't. Do you still remember what it was like when he just said, "Yeah, I'm done"? Like, was there like riots in the streets here?
I remember it very well because it
happened during a game, right?
Yeah. Well, it was right at the end of the preseason.
Preseason game 3. Chicago Bears are in town. I'm on my bachelor party in Chicago.
Oh,
with nothing but Colts fans. So we get this news. We're preparing to go out for the evening. It's the second night of the bachelor party. We've been in Wrigley doing that all day, and then we're going to go have fun in the city. And then all of a sudden, my friends start freaking out, screaming. I'm like, what the heck happened? Who died? And then they show me the phone, and it's Schefter. And I said, well, there goes my bachelor party. And we stayed in that night, and everybody was depressed.
No, that's when you flip it and rally and turn it up more. Like, our life is over as Colts fans. Let's just turn it up and forget about it for 4 hours. Or 6 hours.
I was ready to go.
Yeah, you're a Steeler guy. What do you
Those guys got to rally. Come on, they got to be better than that.
That was such a monumentally depressing, disappointing moment that's what happened. And not only am I a Steelers fan, so I was like, all right, but I was working for the Indy radio station. It's right over there, actually, right now. They're the flagship station for the Colts.
For the Colts, yeah.
And so I was getting calls about, like, because I was running digital stuff. So all this is going on at my bachelor party. I've been drinking all day. It was a nightmare.
Wow.
So thanks, Andrew.
I remember, too, it started coming. Schefter or somebody dropped it while the game was going on late in the game.
Yes. It's still talked about here. People were booing him.
Yeah. They were ticked.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
'cause
that's
he was in
right.
uniform.
He wasn't off the field
He was
yet.
in uniform.
No, he wasn't. He was still rehabbing, and so it was like third game. But everybody was like, "Oh yeah, he had done on-field workouts the week before." So they're like, "We're getting close. We're getting close." And then all of a sudden,
Not close.
not
Wow.
close. Furthest thing from
Wow.
close. Yep.
We do know that Colin Cowherd is, a national radio host. He's got some interesting opinions, to say the least. He seems to kind of knock Buffalo every chance he gets. I mean, he has respect for them and Coach McDermott and what they do, but there are a lot of times where he will inflate the rankings of other teams. But, Colin, if you had to put your top 5 together of teams in the league heading into 2023, or maybe just give me a top 3, where would you go for top 3 teams, at least as how they look now going into 2023?
Yeah, so I think it's funny. I think it starts with Kansas City. That's fair to say. You see them, Mahomes, Reed, they're not going anywhere. All right, they're the top dog. They're the girl you want to take to the prom. Now you go down to number 2. I think that's Joe Burrow. I think that's Cincinnati. Whether you want to talk about what they've invested in the offensive line, with the receivers, with the defense, you got Joe Burrow. He's the guy that, maybe you want to start thinking about bringing to the prom. Third, I'm going to have to go Philadelphia. What they've been able to do, they're coming off a Super Bowl appearance. They have an identity. You look at Buffalo. Buffalo is all relying on Josh Allen. If you're a family and you only have one income coming in, oh, sorry, all of a sudden you're not being able to bring that bread home. What's your family going to do? That's my problem with Buffalo right now. Too reliant on Josh Allen, don't have enough income coming in, other places start.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's exactly what he does.
Yeah.
And it chaps Bills fans to no end.
This is weird for me. I mean, because you guys got a stacked. You got the
I know.
quarterback of generation. You got a great coach. You got great fans. You got all these things, and I still feel like you guys are. I feel like you guys are still have this chip on your shoulder. You're feeling slighted everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't
Yeah.
say that going into last season because they were everybody's Super Bowl favorite.
That is true.
So you couldn't say that last year, but even as the season wore on, like people are just taking their shots where they could.
It's a team we talk about it all the time. It was a team that was going 13-3, and they were getting knocked for style points on victories. It didn't win good enough, wasn't convincing enough, wasn't by more than one score, that kind of thing. And it's just something. I think every team that's on the rise, people look to poke holes in it.
Sure.
Not only in this case, it was our own fans that were kind of like we were all like going, gosh, because there's always this hand wringing until you win the big one, right? That's like, what's going to happen that is going to keep us from winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that angst that I think Steeler fans don't really understand that anymore.
Yeah.
But we're still living in that life, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, we got a ways to get back up there. Definitely the
Pickett looks good, though.
Last 4 games we played Buffalo, it makes me want to freaking jam my head through it.
Yeah, but Pickett came a long way last season.
He did. The end of the season, I feel good. Kenny's a friend of mine, so I'm not going to, I believe in him, and I'm ready to see him continue to thrive. But, yeah, Buffalo playing you guys, I don't even want to watch the games.
Well, it was an ugly one last year, for sure.
Yeah.
What was that, 38-3?
Yeah, and it was the
that was a
nine-
turn it
it's
off
when
in
it
the
turned.
second
Yeah,
quarter.
it turned. It's that 98-yarder that went, and then all of a sudden it
Third
was
and 10
wow.
at the 2-yard line. Like, okay, this is the start of a good
okay,
thing.
got a little good going.
No more good thing.
Yeah.
Over
Awesome
1 minute into it. Yeah.
Joey, great having you, man. Really appreciate it.
Lay out
Thanks
for us real quick, because I know you've got the series coming up on the 33rd team.
Yeah.
The first episode's with former Colts head coach Chuck Pagano.
Yes.
Do you know who's coming up in future episodes here?
Yeah. So Matt Miller from ESPN.
Oh, okay.
Popular draft analyst. Knows a lot of the stuff, the ins and outs. He's going to be the second guest. But that's on the 33rdteam.com, on their YouTube channel where all those are living, and then in different social clips on my social channels, Joey Mulinaro. You can find that there. But yeah, guys, I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
M-U-L. That's how you spell it.
Mulinaro. You can find me there everywhere at Joey Mulinaro. And good luck to you guys this upcoming year.
Yeah. Thanks for
man.
the time.
Appreciate
I think I like Kiper and Saban the best, just for
Okay.
the record.
Good.
Those were really good.
Thank you.
All right, that's Joey Mulinaro joining us here on One Bills Live.